How's it going? You know, I've done a lot of video intros in my day, and every time I start a video, I just convince myself I have to say something that I've never said before. But why? Why's a fella gotta do that? You didn't come here for the intro, you came for the vid! You came for the vid! So who cares what I say right now? Like, silly monkey cheese banana. I could just say something random like that, you know? What am I doing? Guys, today, people, we are checking out some videos from the incredible Let Me Explain Studios. One of my favorite channels on the entire planet. The one that we live on, that we call Earth. Oh! I call being in this one too! Well, you don't really make it a choice, Kermit. You kind of just show up when you want to. You've literally never asked, can I be in a video before? Yeah, but I call being in this one. Well, Kermit, yes, I know you are a big reason why the last Let Me Explain Studios video was a classic. Because of ham slices! Kermit, all I ask is that you don't reference ham slices unless a rear end is actually mentioned in one of these videos. So I can't talk about ham slices until ham slices are talked about? I'll try not to ham it up too much. Okay, I'm not gonna acknowledge the pun. We'll do it, fine. Getting recognized stories. My grievances with medieval times. And my crazy theater teacher's weird body language theory! And guys, I do think this might end up being one of our final Let Me Explain Studios videos. So if you want to go on this journey with us, just make sure you enjoy yourself. Boop the like button, leave a comment if you enjoy the series, and make sure you're supporting Rebecca because her videos are amazing and she does a lot of hard work. Getting recognized! I am here and I'm ready for ham slices. What did I say? What did I say? Ham slices?
Hello, my geeks and peeps, my explainers, and
Hello,
blah, blah, blah.
that's me.
Listen here. If you know that intro, chances are you know who I am. And
Yes.
if you don't, hi, I'm Rebecca. Thank you kindly for noticing I don't have a mouth. Jumped right out of the inkwell without it. Anyways, back to my original point. If you know me, there's a chance you may one day be gallivanting about in the world
Post-pandemic.
and happen to spy a wild Becca in her natural habitat. And if that glorious day comes, I assure you, my little oodle-lollies, that it is quite okay to approach.
Yay!
I shall not maul you to death. Probably.
I mean, my concern's the other way around. I'm not ever concerned that I'm gonna maul someone to death. I would think I'd be concerned about them. Getting recognized stories is something that I really enjoy watching. James has made a really good video about it. Bryson's made a really good video about it. And I really enjoy this topic, so let's go.
Something that you'll hear a lot from storytime animators is that they don't know why people get excited or overwhelmed meeting them. Oh, please don't cry. I'm just a weirdo who spends way too much time in front of a computer screen and doesn't shower nearly as much as I
fun.
should. That's it. That's the reality of our situations. The day-to-day of what we do is not glamorous. Actually, strike that. I'll tell you the one time that this job does feel glamorous.
Be gone.
Conventions.
Yep.
Where sponsors give us a metric ton of free stuff, and when we step on a stage, everybody goes, bah! But even then, you're working really hard at these events. You're sweaty and exhausted, and your feet hurt because you just had to wear the sparkly red high heels, didn't you, Dorothy? Click them together. Maybe you'll get some Dr. Scholl's, you fashionista wannabe.
Sheesh! Past Becca is catching strays. Catching strays from who else but Becca herself? Okay, Kermit, you are not a YouTuber. I don't think you can relate to this, so I would kind of prefer if I could do this one by myself. What? It's 1 minute in! Kermit, I promise that I will let you back in when we find a situation that is more appropriate for you. I am not gonna forget this moment in time. Curse you, Robert. Okay, see you in a bit.
Wait, what was I talking about? Oh, right, meeting all of you. Sit down, I got funny stories.
Okay.
About 3-ish years ago, I was at the grocery store. Nothing particularly important about this trip, I was just getting my things. I got in line for the checkout and there was a high school kid and his mom in front of me. Big, tall football player kind of guy. Now, when I'm at a convention or on the rare occasion appearing on camera for a video, I tend to doll myself up a bit. But that day, I was in normal Becca mode.
Same.
No makeup, my hair was all frizzy, I was wearing my glasses. Like that would help disguise me.
No one will suspect a thing if I wear my Clark Kent glass.
Honestly, if I put on glasses, I feel like I'd become more recognizable. Because I wear so much dumb stuff all the time. I've like set myself up for this. But yeah, no, I'm sometimes in normal Becca mode as well. I am known to occasionally go into normal Becca mode.
But even still, sometimes people won't realize who I am because I'm not all pretty-fied. Case in point, while I was standing there in line, I noticed the high school guy started to stare at me for a long time. Wheels definitely turning in his head.
Who is this?
Pulled out his phone, searched for something, and then began to look between me and his phone a few times.
That's how it goes.
That's a fun feeling, knowing you're being stared at but not wanting to awkwardly return eye contact, so you do that quick glance thing over and over. The guy's mother finished paying and began wheeling her basket away, yelling at him to get the lead out, we're going. He looked back at me rather frantically and said, are you Rebecca Parham? Yes? Picture? Sure? Click! And he was out the door.
Yay!
The cashier girl looked at me and said,
Are you like famous or something? Are you like famous? Okay. I have definitely had that experience. That experience where you know someone like thinks they recognize you and then they're like on their phone and they're like, you can tell that they're looking you up. Also, I'm a millennial, so this means phone to me. They're like looking you up. It's so obvious. It is so obvious every time.
what was that about? He recognized me from my YouTube channel. Whatever, nerd. Speaking of stores, a little girl...
That's what you want. You don't want a person who's like, wait, are you famous or something? And then they like are interested and they want a picture just because they found this out, even though they did not care who you were beforehand. I would rather someone be like, yeah, whatever, move on. I would so prefer that.
Speaking of stores, a little girl once followed me around the pharmacy section of Target. Every time I stopped in an aisle and looked at something, she'd stand 6 feet from me and pretend she was looking at the shelves too. I know she was pretending because little girls are not usually that fascinated with Rogaine. She side-eye glanced at me a lot, but never did say anything to me. I wasn't wearing makeup that day either and was probably very sleep-deprived, so I must have looked rather terrifying. Resting witch face and all.
Yes, come closer, little girl. Would you like a selfie? I promise it won't steal your soul.
I very often get surprised by the types of people who know who I am. They pop up in every situation too. See, I am more often than not approached by young people. Kids, teens, early college, you get it.
Yeah.
So when my mom and I were in the airport and we walked up to our gate, I was rather surprised when a man traveling alone in his 40s came up to me and said, "Excuse me, but are you Rebecca Parham?"
Wow.
I was not ready for that. My brain fully expected this man to say, "Excuse me, is this the flight to London?" or some other old person thing like, "Do you..."
Excuse me, where's the bathroom? I'm so sorry, excuse me, are you? Yes, I am the YouTuber from the thing, you have seen them. Are you in line for this? That is probably the worst meeting someone experience as a YouTuber, when you think somebody knows you and then you talk to them a certain way and then you find out they don't. That's the worst. That's the most awkward one.
To London or some other old person thing like, "Do you remember that show Thundercats?" He was a nice guy and told me that he watched my videos with his daughter. Your child forces you to watch me. Now that makes sense. Well, fair play to you, dedicated parental unit. There was this one time back in 2019, I was in downtown San Antonio for San Japan, a big old weeb fest anime convention. I was there to sing at a concert with fellow YouTubers Caleb Hiles, Anna Pantsu, and CG5.
Charlie!
The night before the convention started, we all went to dinner, and when we were done, we called an Uber to get back to the hotel. I was in the front seat and Caleb was in the back seat directly behind me. We must have been talking about something very interesting because I had turned towards my window to better speak to him over my shoulder. The car stopped at a red light, and while we were sitting there, some movement outside of my window caught my eye. I looked up, and this is what I saw in the Suburban next to me.
Look! Rebecca, look!
Funny enough, there was one time my face wasn't even the thing getting recognized. About 3 years ago, I was at Disney World with my family, and on this particular day, we were at Epcot. David and I were waiting outside the bathrooms for Mom and Rachel when a girl walked by and noticed that David was wearing an Aperture Laboratories t-shirt.
Okay.
The nerd. She stopped and said,
Hey, I really like your t-shirt.
I couldn't help but notice that the girl was wearing a Spirited Away shirt, so I said, "Oh, and look, you're wearing Hayao Miyazaki. You really ought to go over to the Japan Pavilion here. They have all sorts of fun anime and manga
Is it her
stuff."
voice?
I was rather satisfied with my perfectly executed social interaction
You
there.
can recognize her voice?
Yeah, my fellow geeks are so easy to talk to. But then I noticed how she was looking at me. She was staring very intently and squinting her eyes in suspicion. Immediately, I thought I had said something stupid. Oh God, I insulted her. I assumed she liked anime. I mispronounced Hayao Miyazaki. I did something. I must have. She just kept staring at me, but then said,
You sound familiar.
Hello, my geeks and peeps,
My explainers and entertainers.
and that was all she needed to hear.
Did she do that? Oh my gosh. That is the risky play. That's what I'm saying. Because if it just so happened that this person was like, you sound familiar, but the rare chance if they still didn't know who Rebecca was, and Rebecca just was like, oh yeah, you know me, jump into my YouTube intro.
Hey internet, it's RobertIDK, and guess what? I'm not dead.
And they're like, oh no, I think we had math class together. Oh no, I thought I heard you on a Subway commercial. It's like, that would be worse. But hey, if she knew, then that's great. That's really fun.
And that was all she needed to hear. Who needs to stand in line to take a picture with a princess? You got a moderately popular YouTuber over here.
Yeah!
But I'll never forget, the only reason I got recognized that day was because of David's nerdy shirt.
Yeah.
You win this one, brother. Now, don't forget, explainers and entertainers, if you see this face poking about in the post-pandemic outside world, you shan't be afraid to introduce yourselves. It warms my heart to see your blessed little faces and subsequently squeeze them.
That is so interesting that she would not have been recognized if it weren't for literally speaking to a person. It makes you wonder, like I wonder about this all the time. Cause I live in a pretty dense area, like dense with like a lot of people. And so I walk by people constantly and I always wonder to myself is like, how many people would know me in an area? Like if I'm in a crowd of like 1,000 people, like is there someone who would know who I am? It's like, well, I typically go through the day and no one recognizes me. But then it's like, there's certain situations where like this, where it's like there are lots of people who know who Rebecca Parham is, but just aren't familiar enough to just spot her from a mile away. I will say, ever since I dyed my hair again, I've been getting recognized way more often than I used to. I mean, I just stand out, I guess. I guess that's what I signed up for. Wait a minute. No, that's cool. I like it, actually. I don't know why I said that like it was a bad thing. Yeah, please, if you recognize me, please say hello, because it makes me feel good about myself. And even if I'm like sleepy or something, and I'm not like, hey, like immediately, it's like, that's how I am on the inside, okay? I really, really appreciate every single person who watches my videos, and meeting you guys is like my favorite thing in the world. All right, enough of this sappiness! Well, thank goodness I was allowed to keep it real. I had a few minutes of peace where I could say something nice without you. Well, and your time is up because I am back. Well, it was nice while it lasted. Crazy theater teacher's weird body language theory. Body language? I think that means there is a greater likelihood of ham slices in this video. Your ham slices? Ham slices! I got it, dude. I got it. Like I said, if ham slices happen, then you can talk about them. If not, shut your trap.
The theater. What's happened to the theater? It hasn't gone anywhere and it probably never will. The apocalypse could happen and all that would be left is a bunch of cockroaches and a 10-person acting troupe performing cats to said cockroaches. You remember me talking about this lady? This mentally unstable theater teacher that clawed her way up from him? Well, guess what? I ain't done exploiting the memory of her yet.
Yay!
That's what you get for traumatizing me in my vulnerable formative years, Snakeface. Whether I like to admit it or not, I did learn some things about theater from Medusa. Some good, some bad, and some random things that I swear she made up because I have not found any evidence of them existing anywhere else.
I mean, yeah, that's what manipulative people do, is they create their own reality, and they convince you that they have information that you don't, and that's how they trick you into thinking that they're valuable. Sorry, I went full psychoanalysis, like, way too early. We're talking about our crazy theater teacher. If you ain't got it by now, then you just ain't getting it. If you haven't seen all the crazy theater teacher videos, you can either check them out on Rebecca's channel, of course, but we've also looked at them in previous videos, so make sure you're caught up on our series here. But either way, you don't need to have seen them to follow this one.
I put forth the following to you, dear explainers. The 4 character spheres.
Ooh.
Thinking head sphere, intellectual head sphere,
Whoa.
heart sphere, and will sphere. With
Wow.
their powers combined,
They make up a school of magic and constantly flex on each other.
Cool.
Am I reading the right notes here? For real though, according to my theater teacher, all people and characters fall under one of these 4 categories based entirely on body language.
What?
She sold this as a legit way of character acting. Yeah, so I'm cashing in on this lady's weird theories and putting the question out to you. Which character sphere are you? Click the link to take our quiz. Don't, there's no link.
I'm excited.
All right, let's begin. Excuse me. Where did I put that reel? Here we are.
Wow,
The differences
this is so
between
cool.
the spheres are based entirely on 4 types of
This is
body
so cool.
language. The walk, eye contact, sitting, and hand gestures.
See if any of these feel familiar. We'll start with the twins.
Okay.
Vacant head sphere and intellectual head sphere.
Vacant head and intellectual. I think I could be a little bit of both of those. I'd say you're more just vacant head. Kermit, you're literally a frog. You're stupid. You're dumb. You don't know things that a human knows. Get off of my case, okay?
Wow, more like hothead sphere. Ah! The tensions are rising, and it's because he knows there's gonna be more hand slices.
Correct! What did I say? Don't talk about the ham slices if there's no ham slices.
See if any of these feel familiar. We'll start with the twins. Vacant head sphere and intellectual head sphere. Now, I remember my teacher was adamant
vacant
we
head?
understood that these spheres have nothing to do with intelligence. A character could be a vacant head sphere and still be a genius. And I'm not just saying that because some of these traits apply to me. Now then, when a vacant head sphere walks, they tend to lead with their head. They also tend to walk with a purpose, even if they don't have anywhere to be.
Oh,
Gotta
yes.
walk, gotta get there. Where's there? I don't remember. Wait.
I do that.
I'm just taking a stroll through the park. Gotta walk. They
I
also
walk
tend
way
to have
too
a
fast.
bounce in their step. So if they're wearing a ponytail, that thing swings like a 1930s big band. My references are not dated, they'll get it, they've all played Cuphead. Next up is eye contact, specifically while talking to someone. Vacant head spheres are a little funny this way. They have the ability to hold eye contact, but they just don't wanna. They're still listening, their brain is just multitasking.
Yo,
Right, so
Kermit, I'm gonna keep it real. You might be right. You might be right on this one.
Oh, isn't that right? And so I ask you this: who's the frog now?
You're still the frog.
Who's the frog now, Robert? Who is it?
Literally you. I am not a frog.
Oh, we'll see about that.
What do you mean by that?
Right, so the surprise party for Emily is on Saturday. Don't tell Emily. There's a cat over there. I bet Emily would like a cat.
Okay.
I should steal that cat. When vacant head spheres sit, they tend to sit on the very edge of the seat.
Nope.
And when it comes to hand gestures, vacant head spheres use their hands when talking a lot. It's like
Little bit
their
for
mouth
me.
is directly connected to their hands. If you kidnap a vacant head sphere and want to shut them up, just tie their hands to the floor. This is also one of those traits that
Wow.
is certified Rebecca. So I guess you know how to kidnap me now? Now, let's move on to the vacant head sphere's twin sibling, the intellectual head sphere.
Okay.
But they're the type of twins that have like some similar features but are in actuality entirely different people. Again, this has
Okay.
nothing to do with intelligence. An intellectual head sphere could technically be a dum-dum, but honestly, I've never come across anyone who acted this way that wasn't a big ol' brainy nerd about something. Much like their twin, intellectual head spheres will sit on the very edge of their seat and also lead
don't.
with their head when they walk.
I don't. Edge of the seat. No. So I will like I walk really fast. And I do think that part is accurate for me. I do talk with my hands a lot, but the sitting on the edge of the chair, no. Maybe a public chair. I don't know. I sink into my computer chair and like put my knees up and all of that. I like laying back. I do not sit on the edge. But the rest of that seemed pretty accurate.
Who's the frog now?
But in direct contrast to their boisterous sibling, when you start to speak to an intellectual head sphere, they must immediately stop what they are doing and very intently stare directly at you while you talk.
Interesting.
To an almost intimidating degree. Hey, so you got a moment? I just wanted to ask about that new filing system that Keith...
Yikes.
You know what? I'm just gonna go ask Keith. Intellectual head spheres like doing very small things with their hands while talking or thinking, like fiddling with a pen or a coin, twiddling their thumbs.
Okay,
And their
sometimes.
gestures are very small and understated. It just feels like this character sphere is the embodiment of the term mild-mannered, the librarian of the bunch.
Okay, probably
Stick
not
'em in an
me.
apartment
Probably
with
not
a
me.
vacant head sphere, and you've got a mildly interesting sitcom on your hands. We'll be right back to
True.
Vacantly Intellectual after these messages. Moving on, you have the heart sphere.
That's me for sure.
Kermit, I don't even know what she's about to say, but I know that this is not you.
The heart. The most important organ in the body and the most important part of my soul.
gosh.
It's about the heart for me. I'm the sweetest new guy you'll ever see. It's about the heart every day. It's about the heart, please don't go away. At the heart, yeah, 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 yeah. My heart. Shut up!
Moving on, you have the heart sphere. A favorite of mine, probably because I share the most traits with this one. This sphere is basically Miss Bianca from the Rescuers movies. First of all, heart spheres have very good
relatable
posture when they walk
reference.
because they lead with their chest. Guess you could say they follow their hearts?
Okay.
Now, when a heart sphere is talking to you, they maintain eye contact very well.
Good.
But the key is their eyes react very empathetically with whatever it is you're saying, whether it's happy, sad, angry, what have you. You never second guess if a heart sphere is actually listening to you. Wow, the heart sphere is big on empathy. It's
Cool.
like a villain being named Reginald McEvilman. When it comes to a heart sphere's hand gestures, everything is centered around the heart to a literal degree.
What?
They touch their chest a lot, that's what I'm saying. Like putting their hand to their heart, playing with their necklaces or their shirt collars, it could be one of these numbers. I may move my hands a lot when I'm talking, but boy howdy, when I am listening or thinking, no necklace is safe. Oh, to those of you watching who think this trait sounds familiar and you could possibly be a heart sphere, here's a little secret for you. Fidget necklaces are an actual thing that you can buy.
Well, Kermit, does any of this sound like you so far whatsoever?
Yeah, I'm the heart.
Okay, tell me one thing about this that reminds you of yourself, because right now I got nothing. I
can't believe you. Okay, listen up. Cause every time we touch, I get this feeling, and every time we kiss. Stop it!
This sphere is also the only sphere that sits in a chair like a normal person. They don't sit on the edge, their butt is perfectly where it needs to be, taking up the correct amount of space for a humanoid.
Feet on the floor, I could never.
None of this, just butt satisfyingly
I could
placed
never.
in chair. Excellent form, darling. Now we get to the will sphere.
Will.
I used to think of this one as the cowboy sphere until I got
I'm kind of a
corrected the
cowboy.
other day. To start off, when a will sphere walks, they lead with their hips. They kind of have that cowboy swagger about them.
Hey, not
I
me.
described this to a friend of mine recently, and he said, "Oh, like supermodels." Yeah, that checks out. Now I think of this as the strut sphere.
Okay.
The sphere of strut.
Ooh.
The stratosphere! Okay, so will spheres don't really use their hands all that much when talking. They only gesture once or twice, but when they do, you gotta step back because it's
they make
always
it count.
something
They
big.
make it count.
Like they're laughing at something funny and they slap the table, or it's a get out of here hand gesture, or big finger guns. They expend all their gesture points in one go. They're like sands, they start off with their strongest attack. I don't know if this is intentional, but will spheres will maintain eye contact with you while talking like they're trying to assert dominance. This is another reason why I used to call them the cowboy sphere,
Ew.
because they stare at you like it's high noon and one of you is about to cash in your warranty.
So only one of these people doesn't have eye contact? Or what were they saying? It was the vacant head. The vacant head could have eye contact, but they don't. Did only one of these involve people not having great eye contact or not using like proper eye contact? Because all of these seem very starey. But I guess to be fair, for the most part, when I see someone, I do look at them while I talk.
Supermodels do it too. That catwalk stare looks like you murdered their family and now they're gonna remove your vital organs through your ears. Legend
Okay.
says that when a will sphere and an intellectual head sphere have a staring competition, it never ends.
Whoa, deep.
Ever. And last but not least, if you have ever known someone in your life that regularly claims an entire couch for themselves,
Oh, I could never.
They were probably a will sphere. They don't just sit in the seat, they take up
I could
the seat.
never.
Just think of Julian sitting in Jenna's terrible jean chair.
I was positive that was Markiplier. I was positive that was Markiplier. I cannot do that. I can't take up a whole couch. I feel bad. I always make sure there's enough room for anyone else. I try not to take up too much space, honestly. Which one does that put me in? I have no idea.
Heart sphere, will sphere. Heart sphere, will sphere. The person could be 4'10", 105 pounds, and somehow they can magically take up every inch of a sofa.
Wow.
Hello, my name is Rebecca. I am a couch stealer. No, I will not move my legs so you can sit down. I claim this furniture in the name of Param. You can sit in the lava. As you
Wow,
can
okay.
probably tell just by the fact that I have already claimed traits from every single one of these spheres,
You're
not
a
everyone
mix.
perfectly fits into one of these categories, and my theater teacher's logic was incredibly flawed. It's
Yeah.
like humans are complex or something. Obviously, this is all just for the yucks, just some good old-fashioned Tommy rot what. Don't take any of it too seriously. But go ahead and let me know in the comments below if you actually do fit perfectly into one of these spheres, or if you're a big old mishmash like me. And subscribe while you're
man.
at it. I see all of you watching without subscribing.
No, it's not me. It's not me. I booped the button a long time ago. I'll boop that like button too. You know what it is. All right, I'll leave a comment. I thought I knew myself reasonably well, but then I watched this video, and now I'm more lost than ever before. All right, there's my comment, homies.
And now for something completely different.
So, Kermit, do you still think you're a heart sphere?
Do I still think I'm a heart sphere? I am all about the heart!
I really don't think you are.
You don't think I'm about the heart? Let me try it like this.
Oh, no, you don't. My grievances with medieval times, the dinner show. I have wanted to check this video out for a very long time, and you want to know why? Because it was the most recent Let Me Explain Studios video that was out when I first found her channel. When we first started doing these videos and looking at this channel, this was the most recent video. And you know, for the most part, guys, I avoid watching YouTubers' new videos because I don't want to take views away from them. So that's why I prefer just looking at videos that have been out for a long time and already have gained a lot of views, and then if anything, we can maybe bump them up in popularity a little bit. But now, this one has been out for a year.
And I finally get to watch it.
I have been to medieval times. I don't know about you, but yeah, we'll see how this goes. This should be a fun one, homies. Let's go.
Hear ye, hear ye. Presented her most royal majesty. First of her name, ruler of the hidden forest, witch of the woods, girlfriend fairy, and, macaroni Monday enthusiast, Queen Rebecca.
Hello, nice to see you, Rebecca.
Well, what did you expect? You all kept calling me queen on my social media.
Yeah!
It was only a matter of time before my ego became overblown and I tried on the crown for size. You only have yourselves to blame, darlings. By royal decree, all subjects
Fanny.
must plant their posteriors and listen to their queen's mad raving.
Posteriors! Oh, no.
Don't you mean ham slices?
No, Kermit, no.
Listen to their queen's mad ravings. Failure to do so shall be punished with beheading
Whoa.
of all your trading cards.
Don't want that.
Sorry, just had to change into something easier to draw. You know, there aren't many chances these days to gain the title of queen. It used to be a much more common thing. Everyone had a queen. They had a queen, and they had a queen. But I don't got any queens, so go fish. If I truly wanted to become a queen, there is one place I could rule a kingdom.
Okay. Let's go! I'm so excited! I'm so excited!
If you haven't had the privilege of attending one of these magnificently cheesy dinner shows, I highly recommend.
Yes.
Best way I can describe it is, it's like professional wrestling.
I gotta go soon.
Except with swords and horses.
I gotta
You
go
cheer
soon.
on your favorite stunt performer competing in a fake competition with scripted drama and a predetermined winner. Just like professional wrestling. In case you're
Yay.
unfamiliar, here's how the whole show works. Spoiler warnings, I guess. Basically, there are 6 knights all competing in the Queen's tournament to be her champion. As a paying guest, you are randomly assigned to one of these knights because choice is an illusion. You sit in your knight section, you wear the paper crowns, and you cheer on your guy for the whole night.
That's so exciting.
You also eat your food with no utensils because they didn't have silverware in ye olden days.
Did they not? Is that true? Is that true?
Forget the forks! I want to know what's on the menu because I think I know one of the options.
What do you think is one of the
Ham
options?
slices! Ham slices! I know it! I know ham has happened here sometimes, and I will not rest until I see it.
Didn't have silverware in ye olden days. Darling, could you use your filthy hands to pass me the plague? There's some dancing horses, a falcon comes out and flies around, but
fun.
let's not be coy. We all know why we're really here.
That's Oh, okay.
First, the knights compete in some games. Look at them go.
Wow, with real
then
horses.
They fake joust each other, do this perfectly believable fall off their horses, and then they fight with pointy objects.
Whoa.
Last night standing wins, and everyone lives happily ever after, except the Green Knight,
That's
but we'll
so
get to him in a
fun.
second. So yeah, great evening. You suspend your disbelief, pretend you're 10 years old, and embrace your inner Ren Fair nerd for a night.
Yay.
Wow, they are having some fun with the fight choreography these days. Look at the Red Knight throwing his shield like Captain America here.
Oh, that's scary.
When I was
Oh!
writing the script for for this video, it looked entirely different. I had this whole running gag about how I was gonna usurp the throne of the Buena Park, California medieval times and tell some childhood stories, yada yada. But the more I wrote, the more I realized that I have some grievances with this place that can be overlooked no more. Though don't worry, I'm not gonna sit here and complain for 7 minutes straight about how this show is about as historically accurate as a Disney movie. We're advanced these days. We don't turn to cheap tourist amusements for our misinformation. We have TikTok for that. Bear in mind, this is all in good nature. Just some friendly suggestions. Feel free to give me free tickets, medieval times. First and foremost, what is up with the torture museum? I mean, I didn't go in there this last trip, so I'm borrowing footage linked to the channel below, but I have a very clear memory of this torture museum from when I was a kid. And I can't be too sure, but I think it unlocked something dark within me.
Well, I'm gonna have a goth phase.
That is actually crazy though, because the torture room, it's like people are just expected to just like see that and forget that like, oh yeah, they used to actually use devices like that on people. And it could be as simple as like you disagree with the king on something and they would just put you into a suit full of spikes. Oh my gosh, the level of cruelty is like when you're a child, it's like, oh yeah, this is fun, this is silly. No, homie, you gotta think about this. I know at a certain age you don't need to comprehend all of this information, but you should probably take a moment to think that humans used to be that messed up, that all of the things you are seeing used to actually happen. Geez, Robert, or you could just enjoy the ham.
Overall, Medieval Times is generally family friendly, but just $2 extra gets you into this museum full of devices, illustrations, and descriptions of torture that I have to blur or I will 100% be demonetized.
Yeah.
It just feels like a tone problem. You got some tonal dissonance going on at your family friendly establishment.
Fair.
It would be like having a beautiful, wholesome day riding rides at Disneyland, and then when you get on Haunted Mansion, an actor with a chainsaw jumps out and starts pelting everybody with body parts. Trauma for the whole family. Another thing that bothered me about these shows, even as a kid, one of the knights ends up being the bad guy. And unless he's scheduled to win that particular show, it's always the Green Knight. Because as Disney has taught us, green is a villain color. Look at this, you also know he's evil because he's wearing antlers on his helmet. Horned villains, those are OUT out.
What?
Robert, were you paying any attention?
I'm paying full attention.
Green is an evil color! Go!
Kermit, based on your performance on this channel, I would say you're not helping the stereotypes.
What? Just give me some ham slices.
Horned villains, those are OUT out, so last season. But villains with antlers, those are all the rage these days.
Scary.
When I was a kid, I always felt really bad for the people sitting in the Green Knight section.
Yeah.
Like, what about those kids wanting to have a good time? They don't want to cheer for the villain. You force them to be in the section that loses the hardest.
True.
It's really no fun being forced to cheer for the guy giving the giant misogynistic monologue in the middle of the show.
No,
you know what it's like?
yeah.
It's like playing a story-driven video game and suddenly there's a cutscene where your character does something really stupid in the plot and you're just left there holding your controller going, hey, what the hell?
Yeah, I was with you.
It's a total bummer and can ruin a kid's experience. Now, I may be misremembering this entirely, but I swear there were 1 or 2 shows I went to growing up where the plot was different. The bad guy was the Black Knight. In fact, he was the reason they were even having the tournament in the first place, to figure out who was gonna face him when he finally arrived. And call me crazy, but is that not a simpler, more effective plot line than the Green Knight suddenly becoming a jerk out of nowhere and there's a bunch of dialogue about it that no one can hear because the crowd is too loud?
I mean, and with the Black Knight, there's not a Black Knight section, right? So it's like they can just be the bad guy, you know? If you make it green, then there's a population of people who have to cheer for the bad guy. And that's like not what you want to do. Especially, can you imagine you're like a parent and you bring your kids to Medieval Times and you get seated in the bad guy section and the kid's like, Dad, why do we have to cheer for the bad guy? Do you like the bad guy? Is being bad good? And as a parent, you're just like, oh no, what do I do?
And it just feels like the stakes are higher, you know? There's an impending threat coming our way. So I don't care if it ends up being my knight, I'm gonna root for whoever can take down the freaking Night King.
Yeah.
That makes the ending of the show that much more satisfying when the whole audience can rally together in support of their triumphant knight.
No
instead
else.
of one section just feeling really awkward and dissatisfied. Listen, Listen, Medieval Times, story is my thing, and I'm a theater kid to boot. You want a good narrative? You want to put on a good show? You give me a call.
Yeah.
We'll negotiate over some mead. Now, this next story isn't so much of a grievance, but it is the reason that this video was written in the first place, so I guess I gotta tell it. Back in my college days, my mom, my brother, and my brother's best friend Brooks were all road tripping me back to animation school in Florida. We stopped in Orlando for the night and needed something to do, so we decided to go to Medieval Times. My mom really treated us that night because she bought the VIP package and got us front row seats.
Sweet.
Now, something I didn't previously mention about this show is that whenever a knight wins one of the games he's competing in, he gets to take a bunch of flowers back to his section and throw them at all the lovely maidens.
Nice.
And you know, it's kind of fun to get one. This is so validating! So, you know, maybe I wanted one.
Yeah.
Very badly. And I was sitting in the front row too, so little hard to ignore all this happening just a few feet in front of you.
True.
But the first time our knight rode by with flowers, he just completely ignored me. He wouldn't even look at me. Okay, no big deal. He'll see me next time. Second time he came back with flowers, I stood and waved and screamed. Yet he still would not even look at me. Excuse me, man pretending to be knight, maiden in need of flower, right in front of you.
Oh no, oh no. Guys, I wanna say this right now. Flowers are nice. If somebody gets you flowers, that is a wonderful thing. And if you get someone flowers, that is a wonderful thing. But please, if you're ever in a situation where you feel like it's an opportunity where you could get flowers, and then if you don't get flowers, do not feel bad for yourself. It's okay. There are always people who love you, okay? There's many ways for someone to show that they care about you, and don't ever feel bad for yourself if you have never been given flowers before, okay? I know this is random, but this is something that does matter to me.
Maiden in need of flower, right in front of you. By the third time this guy returned with flowers and completely ignored me,
Oh no.
your lady was getting rather peeved.
Oh no.
So as he was riding by, I stood up and screamed, "You suck!"
No!
Well, can you blame me?
Are you serious?
I was vexed. I mean, really, the audacity. However, unknowing to me, I was about to be served some humble pie for dessert. Because about 10 minutes after I had insulted this man's integrity, our knight returned to our section with a long lance and something tied to the end of it. He rode up directly in front of me and swiftly pointed the lance right in my face. Hey, listen, man, I know things got heated back there, but I'm pretty sure impaling a paying customer will get you written up.
Well, in medieval times, you would get impaled for saying something like that. That's the thing. You're getting the authentic experience, Rebecca. Careful what you wish for. Careful what you wish for.
Pretty sure impaling a paying customer will get you written up. Oh.
Queen of Love. What?
Sorry! Yeah, so I guess this show ain't half bad. I might just be in a tad bit of a gripey mood because of this last trip. You see, when I went to get all this footage, I paid for the VIP package so I could sit in the first row. Was hoping to get a flower, or better yet, that nifty banner again. Because it would have been great content. But as you can see, I wasn't in the first row. My friend and I got to our assigned seats, which were clearly in the second row, and we were a bit confused. We called our waiter over and said, "Hey, we paid for the VIP package. We're supposed to be in the first row." And this guy had the audacity to say, "Oh, this is the first row." No, good sir, this is not the first row. I know that because I can count.
No.
Can you? Apparently, my dumb butt just didn't read the fine print on the VIP package. Turns out part of the second row is considered VIP as well. Not entirely sure why that particular waiter didn't just tell me that instead of trying to gaslight me.
Yeah.
So you know, medieval times, I'm willing to let bygones be bygones here. From what I can tell, you could use some fresh blood in your royalty. So, crown me queen of medieval times and I shall lead you to honor and glory, simple as that. Let me know when my coronation is. Make sure you have room for all my 4 million plus ones in the front row.
Thank you. Free Medieval Times tickets. That would be great. Man, I gotta go to Medieval Times. I gotta go to Medieval Times sometime. I gotta do it. I have to make that happen. That is such a fun, wacky experience that you can't get anywhere else. And now I don't think it was good to teach Rebecca that screaming, "You suck!" It helps you become the queen. But I guess I support her regardless.
Homies, if you believe that I am a man of heart and I am also a man of ham slices, then please check out the full playlist of times that we looked at Let Me Explain Studios. All the videos are so good. And subscribe to Rebecca's channel is over here, of course, you know. And then this is a video right here where the last video that I was in. If you didn't see this one, please make sure you check it out because it was fun. And a fella just wants some ham slices.